welcome back to my channel. If this is your first time here, hello, my name is Mika. Thank you so much for stopping in. So today I just want to talk about when you don't feel like doing something, do it anyway. I know it is so hard when you have an urge or you have like a unwanted desire to do something, and maybe you limit yourself and you say, I can't do that, or I'm not ready to do that, and you drag your feet, you don't want to do it. Truth be told, regardless if it's called upon you to do it, you're going to have to do it anyway. The only difference is if you do it during a time when you have that urge and you know that you're being called to do it, or you feel led to do something and you do it, it may sting, especially if it's something that you really did not foresee yourself doing. It may sting for the moment, but you'll realize the greater blessing once you do it. But if you prolong it, you wait, I can't do that, I don't want to do that, that's not for me, I don't feel like that, now is the time, make excuses to get to where you're supposed to be or to do what you're supposed to be doing. I promise you, I've done it, I know the truth. It's going to hurt so much worse in the end. So if you're going to lose out greatly. It could be something great that could have come out of a situation. Like, for example, if you're feeling like, you have to leave a relationship, and I know that is really tough. Leaving relationships are not easy, even if you feel like that person's not for you, or if you guys don't even get along, you guys don't even like each other, but it's just something about exiting a relationship, especially if you guys have been together for a while, is really, really hard. So I understand completely. I've been there, done that. And even if a relationship is great, but you just feel like there's no more growth, or leaving a job that you really like. You may like your coworkers, you may like the distance it is from your home, you may like the benefits, you may like the pay. But if you feel like you're being told to leave, sometimes you make excuses. It's like, well, this job is it's paying my bills. But you never know. When you're prolonging, you don't know what your higher power or what God has for you. Usually when he's telling you to leave, it's for something greater. Like, I left Indiana, like I told you all, like I've left Indiana, and it was the absolute hardest thing for me to do. And I kept prolonging. I was one of those people, well, really I had excuses along the way, but they were realistic excuses, if it makes sense. Because during that time I had braces, I had to wait for my braces to be taken off, of course. And because I had already paid for the treatment, I was refusing to come to Houston and pay for treatment all over, or pay for the remainder of my treatment when my treatment was already paid off, and I paid $5,500. So no, I wasn't doing that. So that was one of my things. And then I was in school, so during that time I was having to go out and do my extern hours and things like that, so I really didn't, I had those as excuses. But I also, like, after the fact, when I was done with school, my braces was taken off, because I had conditioned myself to make the excuses for as long as I had, it became normal. It was like, well, now my excuse is I don't want to leave all my friends, and my friends are like my family, and they truly are. So it was really, really difficult for me, because that was, I felt like I had family. I felt like I had support, and I was leaving my support system. I was leaving a job that paid okay. I was able to sustain and pay my bills, and I had no complaints in that area. And then I was leaving just everything that was familiar to me. And I know I kept on being tapped on the shoulder, like, hey, it's time for you to move. It's time for you to move. I waited. I heard your excuses. It's time for you to move. And then I started to grow upset, because I was like, I didn't understand what was the reason anyway for me to move so far away. But I did it, and because I did it, but I didn't do it in the time frame that God told me to do it, I did have to struggle a little bit when I got here. But blessingly, I did have family and friends that helped me to get through to me having my own place now. But But yeah, it was hard because I just didn't want to do it, you know, and that's how I believe a lot of us are. We get stuck, we have excuses, we get comfortable in something, and we don't know God has so much greater. Because like I said, like now I have a much greater job. I'm get paid a whole lot more money than I ever would imagine I would have got paid for the job that I do. I have my beautiful apartment, you know, things like that. You know, everything's working, everything folded together for my good. And had I done this a little while ago, it would have been even better. I'd have been settled in even better. Like right now, I'm still getting settled in. So, and I'm still, you know, in the process of buying things because I started completely over. So, you know, you'll be amazed. And so if you're feeling called to do something, do it, because you don't know. Okay, so what, you do something that you feel like you're being led to do and then it crashes. So what? But you'll never know what the end result is if you don't try. You know, there's a reason. Even sometimes, like, let's say, going back to relationships, because I know that's what we all, well, a lot of us, we enjoy being in a relationship, right? Whether that's a friendship or an intimate relationship with somebody, we enjoy it. So let's use relationships as an example. Let's say you feel like you're being told to leave this relationship for whatever reason. I mean, sometimes you don't even have a reason. You just have an urge and you don't know why. And it's just your greater power. Just because your greater power can see what you can't. Your greater power knows your future. You don't. So let's say you leave and that person moves on, or that person makes new friends, and you're still single or you're still friendless. You feel like, what have I done? I hate this decision. I should have never did it. But then you'll learn the lesson at the end. If you've done something that was not just based off emotion, because we have to be careful with making emotional decisions. But if you feel like you've done something that you felt led to do, I promise in the end it's going to work out. It may look ugly, it may be painful for that moment, I'm telling you. But it's going to work out, and you're going to just, things will come together, and that person, your ex, may be moved on with somebody, and they may be in a relationship with somebody who makes them happy, or somebody better fit for them, or someone who it doesn't go anywhere. You don't know, and it's none of your business. But my point is, that may be happening for them, but God is working something out for you too. Like, you don't know what it is. And so if you feel led to do something, don't sit on it. And plus, we don't know, our days are numbered. So don't say, okay, I'm going to start, I feel like I really want to start a business. You keep talking about this business, and then you like, I'm going to start this business. I promise I'm going to do this in 5 years. Why not try to do it now? You know, if you have the means for it, or even just starting a small business, or putting your first foot forward and do it. Make steps towards it, because you don't know. Let me tell you a story real fast. So I seen on YouTube, there was a story about a young lady, very pretty girl. She was like 25 or 26. Maybe she was a little younger than that. She was in her early 20s, y'all. So she was a hairdresser, and she had started her own business, her own hairline and everything. And someone murdered her. You know, now what would have happened if she would have said, well, I'm only in my early 20s. I'll wait till my 30s to start, you know, to build that company that I always wanted. You know, it's very unfortunate for what happened to her. You know, I'm not saying that, you know, it's a good thing what happened to her at all, but I'm just saying, I'm proving a point that you don't know. You don't know what tomorrow holds. You don't know what your future holds. And so keep on saying, oh, I'll do this next year. I'll do this tomorrow. I'll do this next week. You know, you don't know what's going to happen to you. You don't even know if you even be capable to do it anymore, even if you're still here on earth. And so, blessingly, that girl was able to live her dream. She had a business that was booming. She was doing great. And then some hated people, because that's exactly what happened. They just came in and took her life because they tried to rob her. So it's just things like that, like it just opens my eyes to realizing every day is not promised. If you feel led to do something, sometimes there's an urgency, because maybe you do have a short life, or maybe something may happen if you don't. Maybe, you know, there's a situation where people are like, I'm so glad I used to live in these apartments, and then, you know, I found out later on that they flooded, or somebody, you know, went around stealing out of those apartments. Like, and it's like, I'm so glad I moved. Or, you know, there's just so much stuff. I know that you guys can look over your life and think of at least one situation where you're like, I'm so glad I did that. Like, even if you don't even know why you did, you're like, at the moment, I just really wanted to just start a new job. And then you find out later that the company that you were working for either got a new supervisor who was an absolute hard person to work with, or you find out that the company went under and they closed, and you're like, oh my God, like, I'm so glad I stopped working there. You know what I'm saying? Or you may find out that they started hiring people who were not good workers, or you find out that they may hire somebody that you had bad blood with back in the day, and it's like, you didn't know that, but just because you just did what you felt called to do or led to do and you got a new job, you dodged that bullet. You see what I'm saying? It's like, so much can go into it. You can look at it all kinds of different ways. My point is just that if you feel like doing it, I don't care if you don't feel like doing it. I don't care if you feel like it's the stupidest decision. If you feel like I can't do it, try it. Because you don't know what you can do. You don't know the reason why you're feeling called or you're feeling the urge to do something. Just be obedient. Just do it, because there's something at the end that it'll make sense later. It'll make so much more sense. Like, for me, like I said, I moved, I got so much greater. And before, I was in a relationship and I really, really wanted to keep that relationship, but it got, you know, we grew apart. And had I stayed in that relationship, I know I would have stayed in Indiana, because, you know, I would have wanted my ex to be able to be with their family. So I would have never left. I would have been there, and I would have never made it to Texas, and I would have never not never, because I know what's for you is for you. It may have been later in my 30s or 40s. It would have been somewhere, but I wouldn't have been able to experience it the way that I'm experiencing it now, where I'm still young. I'm still able to explore and, you know, get to know people. And I'm still in a right mind where I can, you know, figure out my job path and, or my career path, and figure out, you know, the things I like to do, and, you know, furnish my home, figure out places I want to live. I still have time to buy myself blessingly, I still have time to buy me a house, and, you know, not make rash decisions, you know, because I'm in my 40s or 50s and it's been time to buy you a house and settle down somewhere. Like, I'm not rushing, because I'm here now. Now I'm just using this time to get to know my new city, and to just kind of get a feel for where I want to live at, you know, where I'm willing to build a home or buy a home and things like that. So it didn't make sense back then when I had to go through the breakup, but it's a domino effect, because I didn't think, like, if I would have never got out of that relationship, I would have, you know, I didn't know that I wouldn't have, you know, built my relationship with Christ the way that I have. I wouldn't have got baptized. And I mean, that's no offense to my ex at all. It has nothing to do with my exes, any of them. It's just that I was so focused on my relationship that I wasn't focused on God. So, back to what I was saying, I would have never, you know, been focused on me. I didn't know who I was. All the relationships that I've been in, I always focused on them, and I didn't know me. So I didn't know that I could love myself this much, that I could appreciate myself this much, that I could smile and be happy on my own, the way, you know, because I was so used to being in a relationship. So I didn't know that, and I didn't know that that I would move to a whole new state. I didn't know that I would have new beginnings. I didn't know any of that. But it was just by making one decision that was really, really hard for me, really tough. Even though I couldn't see my future. I couldn't see what was next. It doesn't feel good when you don't know what to expect. You know what I'm saying? So I understand why people, you guys may say, well, I'll do this next year, or I'll try this tomorrow, or I'll keep fighting for something that I know is dead. You know, stop. If you feel the urge to do something, you're feeling like you need to walk away from something, you're feeling like you need to pick up a new hobby, you're feeling like you need to relocate, whatever it is, do it, because you only get one life. And every day we're living, we're dying. So why not? Why not try? And if it fails, from your understanding, if it fails, just know you tried. Just know you can keep moving, and it'll build who you are. It'll build your trust in yourself. Like, okay, that didn't work, but I got through it before, but I promise you, honestly, if you are feeling called to do something, if it is a desire of yours, if it is a burning urge of yours to do something, I promise it's from your higher power, and it's going to work out. It just, in that moment, you're going to feel like, what have I done? Or you're going to feel like this is the worst decision ever. And you're going to feel like I should never did it. But it all makes sense later. Like I said, I've been single almost for, next month will be 2 years. And I just got to this point. So there was, of course, times of lows, times of highs, times of struggle, times of confusion. There was a lot of that. But it's all making sense to where I am now. Everything you do now is setting you up for your future. So make sure that you're following that. Don't just settle with somebody. Don't just settle on a job. Don't just, tell yourself you can't do something because you don't know. There's a lot of people working jobs right now or doing things in life right now that they didn't think that they could do. And they don't have any education to do it. And so you need to stop doubting yourself, stop doubting your higher power, stop doubting God, and just follow it. And even if it hurts, there is purpose in our pain. There's growth in our pain. And yes, stuff doesn't feel good. It's not easy. It's not easy to say, I'm going to give up my home, and try to find somewhere else to live. It's not easy giving up your marriage if you know it's failing, if you know that it's not working, or if you know that you two don't even like each other. And of course, we all want marriage to be forever. But sometimes we do marry the wrong person. And if you're being told that and you're getting every flag, God is telling you, like, this is not the marriage that I have greater for you, don't ignore it, because I promise you better will come. It's not gonna come when you want it to, because of course when you start doing something, you're immediately gonna expect to see changes immediately, and that's not the way God works. That's not the way your higher power is gonna work. But if you just trust and you take that first step, they're gonna lead you the rest of the way. I promise. Even when it hurts, I'm telling you, do it anyway. You wake up in the morning and you're like, I don't want to go to work. Do it anyway. Why? Why do you do it anyway? Because you need a paycheck. You need your job. You need to be able to live. So be that way. Be intentional about everything else. If you feel like you have to do something and you don't know why, or you don't really want to do it anyway. As long as it's not something that's going to hurt somebody, of course. I mean, if it's positive, not crazy things, but, if it's something positive, do it anyway. Try. You never know what'll come out of it. So this is my spiel for this morning. I'm sorry, y'all, if I was a little rambly, but really, seriously, I just want you all to just know that sometimes there's never a right time to do something or to make a decision. And if you feel in the back of your mind, you feel the urge to do something, there's never going to be that perfect time where it's like, okay, this is the moment I'm going to do it. It's never going to be. It's like you have to make up your mind to do it. And you have to put action behind your word. So y'all let me know what y'all think. Drop your comments in the comment box below. Talk to me. Like I said, I like to talk. You guys can see I like to talk. I'll talk back with you. And we'll just continue to come up with different discussions, different topics as we go along. If you have anything you want to talk about, let me know. If you like my video, give me a thumbs up. Share my video if you like, and become a subscriber if you have not already. Become one of my friends, and we will talk next time. Bye.